from Southern Maryland's weather leader. This is a JB Weather Report.
All right, and good evening, everyone. I'm Forecaster John Bordash with you in the Weather Center this evening, giving you your Thursday evening update live here on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on the latest storm potential. And yes, Brenda, I've had a long day at school. If you can hear me, though, let me know in the comments before we get too underway with everything. And I see Catherine's already on top of it. She says she can hear me. So good evening. Yes, we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot to look at. This might end up being one of our longer live streams. So for those who just now tuning in, or you've never experienced a JB Weather live stream before, this is kind of the way we're going to break things down. The first 10 minutes here or so, that's going to be my presentation for you. I'm going to walk through all the graphics, walk through Futurecast, and essentially just walk through the forecast with you. And I won't be able to answer your questions during that time frame, as I'm just trying to get all that out. So I would really refrain from asking questions until the second part, which comes after the first 10 minutes, in which I will answer your questions, so you can put them in the chat then. What I will say is, if you're wondering how much snow you're going to be seeing, there is a scrolling ticker there at the bottom part of your screen that says Quick Glance. There are 30 town names from across our little corner of the world, so I'm sure you're going to be able to find a town near you that has a snow total. And then after that portion of answering questions, we'll get into the science behind the forecast. And there's typically about 100 or 200 of you that like to stick around for that part. Catherine Ward is one of them. She's always in here, along with a couple of other people. So looking forward to it. So we've started with this graphic the last couple of days, and I still think it holds true, and I think most of you know the deal by now. Is this storm going to track further west or further east? Cold air will be in place for snow, and the further west it comes, the higher the snow totals we're going to be seeing across the region. So here's that first scenario, right? The one that delivers us heavy snow. It would be due to our storm system slowing down off the coast. It would allow some other pieces of energy in the atmosphere to interact with this storm system and really allow it to bring heavy snow all the way back to I-95, including Southern Maryland, with blizzard conditions up along the coastline. This chance has been decreasing in my eyes. We started this chance off at about a 40% chance. Now we're down to 25%. Not a 0% chance. This could still very well happen. In 100 universes, this happens in 25 of them. So do we live in a universe where this happens? Not too sure. I don't think so, but that's scenario one. You've seen this graphic before. Scenario two, slight change. That track comes further eastward, and it really kind of only focuses that heavy snow right up along the Atlantic coastline. You get snow here in Southern Maryland, but it's not as heavy as it could be with scenario one. This chance has gone up to about a 75% chance. I think the eventual solution probably lies somewhere in between scenario two, scenario one. Probably has more of a look at scenario two, if that makes sense to you. So somewhere in between, but probably a lean towards this solution. So with that in mind, I think, what's the snow index for this? We're 24 hours out from the storm. I think we're at a level 3. So delays and impacts are likely. I know we don't have schools in session on the weekend, but I would plan on some travel delays for Saturday, Friday night going into Saturday. Impacts will be likely across the region. Let's break down tomorrow's forecast hour by hour. Then we'll get into Futurecast and get into the snowfall forecast. Or maybe we'll do the snowfall forecast first for those of you that are popping on here quick. So tomorrow's timeline, I think we start off cold and mostly cloudy. There is the chance that we see a couple of isolated flurries tomorrow morning. So don't be caught off guard if it's 10:45, you're standing outside in Prince Frederick, you're looking around and it's like there's snow, it shouldn't be starting yet. The chance for some isolated flurries will be there for you at 12 a.m. or 10 a.m., 12 p.m. I think the snow chance becomes a little bit more widespread for you as you head after lunchtime. So 2 to 4 o'clock. Precip could be moving through the region with temperatures getting in the upper 30s tomorrow. It could be more of a rain-snow mix. Likely not looking at sleet or freezing rain. I think it's really only rain or snow. Not widespread yet at that point. I think if you see snow, little accumulation will happen initially. You could have some slick spots, though, especially on secondary and back roads. I wouldn't anticipate a widespread, commute issue tomorrow evening. But do be aware there could be some snowflakes falling, and just people seeing snowflakes falling causes issues on our roads. If you've driven, like, let's say 3-notch road, you're heading northbound, you get as much as a cloud in the sky. You got people going crazy. I think our highest snow chance, though, while snow could be possible throughout the day, tomorrow, throughout the afternoon, I really think the highest snow chance comes after sunset. And I think accumulation becomes much more likely as we head 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock tomorrow, with the steadiest snows falling south and east. I think the next slide here should be the snowfall forecast. So we'll do this. We'll take your zoom in here on Southern Maryland, then we'll get to Futurecast. I think that's a pretty good game plan. So area low pressure off the coast heading northbound, intensifying as it does so, really focusing those highest snow totals along the coastline. So if you know anybody on over towards Ocean City, Rehoboth, Cape May, Atlantic City, Toms River, on over towards the eastern end of Long Island, southeastern Mass. Yeah, I see Amber did say I caught 3-notch. You all know 3-notch. Any of these roads, Route 4, oh my God, Route 5, like you won't know the issues. But 5 to 10 inches, I think, looks likely for those coastal communities closest to the storm center. West of I-95, you're going to find very little snow, 1 to 3 at most out there. And here in Southern Maryland, we're really sandwiched in between seeing very little snow and seeing a whole bunch of snow. I think our region, let's take a zoomed in look here for you. It's going to be really tight. I think DC, Andrews, Indian Head, Akakie, that really locations from about 301 points west. So we're talking again, La Plata, Waldorf, Andrews, Newburgh, points west, right? 1 to 3, maybe closer to 1, but maybe up to 3. I then think between about 301 to about, it's kind of hard to say because we don't have a road that runs north to south, but I would say northern St. Mary's, northern Calvert, eastern parts of Charles County, really between like La Plata to Prince Frederick and like Loveville, that kind of triangle region there, you're looking at more of a 2 to 3-ish range. It's kind of hard to like pinpoint some of these locations, but you can kind of like, if you just look at the numbers, you can kind of imagine where those ranges would be. The general theme here is the further southeast you head, the higher the total. So Prince Frederick 2 to 3, Loveville's probably like a 2 to 3, 2 to 4 maybe. I think St. Leonard, Leonardtown, you're sitting at a 2 to 4 range. Lusby 2 to 4, Lexington Park, Pax River, you then jump up to 3 to 5. So once you get south of Solomons, I'm thinking right now where you get 3-notch road and Route 4 there in St. Mary's County, got the Wawa right there. I love going to Wawa. You all know me. So I'm thinking about that intersection really points south. So as you head down 3-notch road, right? As you head south in St. Mary's County, I think that's where your 3 to 5 inch range is going to be. Do I think everyone is going to see the highest end here? I don't think so. I think if you're going to see 5-inch reports, it's going to be south from about Lexington Park points south. I guess it's more like California points south. I think if you're going to see 3 to 4 inch totals, it might be Southern Calvert, parts of St. Mary's, but totals will really kind of drop off as you head north and west. Let me take you on over to Futurecast. Let's time this out here for you because I know that's another question. It isn't just how much snow are we going to see, when is it going to hit? So let me get you on over here. Let's bring this up. Our Futurecast here brought to you by Chesapeake's Bounty, getting you started here at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Not much going on. Futurecast tries to put in some rain showers. I think that might be a little bit too aggressive, though, with that. Let's move you forward. And you see, by 8 o'clock it is rain showers. I really would discount that. The Futurecast does have some issues here trying to paint stuff that shouldn't be there. Where you get the snow there, and you can kind of see that up here near Winchester, Hagerstown, Frederick. I think that's where you're going to be looking at maybe some precip falling. But as you push this forward here, let's take you on over towards like 10 o'clock. And 11 o'clock, you see some scattered rain showers, scattered snow showers. Not a big deal, but that could be around. And as you push you forward here, then by 3, 4 o'clock, let me just get that forward one more frame. By the evening commute, that's when we could start to see the snow become a little bit more widespread in coverage. Is it heavy yet? I don't think so. I think we're still talking light snow temperatures, probably hovering 34, 35 at this point. So accumulations, while the chance for accumulations going up, I don't think we're talking widespread accumulation here for your ride home tomorrow. But do keep in mind that potential is there. Do I think schools need to close early tomorrow? I don't think so. I think we'll be fine when we talk about that. The highest impact come after sunset. Sunset tomorrow, I believe, is like 5:23, 5:24. So as you get you here after sunset, then you see that's when we start to see maybe some of these darker bands of snow trying to set up. If we zoom out, what you're able to see is our area of low pressure is beginning to get its act together down here to the south, and you're beginning to get snow falling here on the northwest edge of this. As you push this back into motion here, you can see really by like, let's call it 10, 11 o'clock, you got snow falling region wide, but the heaviest snows are falling east and west, or south and east of I-95, really east of I-95. The storm doesn't really have a southern component. It's really how close to the Atlantic can you get. Let's continue to play this on out, and you see snow becomes a little spotty overnight. So maybe you Saturday nights, 2 a.m., you're waking up, you're like, where's the snow? It was snowing earlier. You could see some breaks in there with this. As you push you on forward, Futurecast went away there real quick, but you can see by 5 o'clock, snow, where's it focused? Southeast of DC. Heaviest snows are still falling here along the beaches. If you're headed out to Ocean City tomorrow, I think we're talking about if you're headed out to Ocean City on Saturday, you'll probably wake up, you'll see some snow out that way. And snow gradually kind of clears out here by the time we head after sunrise. Snow hangs on a little longer on out towards the beaches, but even out there, it should begin to clear as we head on through. So let me bring you back on over here. So again, there's that snowfall forecast, and you can kind of see why the highest totals are going to be in Southern Calvert, Southern St. Mary's, because that's where the snow is going to hang on the longest. And I do see a quick question from Kim wanting to know if the snow is light and fluffy. It probably will be. Initially, it could have some moisture to it, but tomorrow, and I think I should have a slide coming up here. I'll get back to the models. I'll get back to the winds. We'll come back here. Let me get you to that impact timeline. This is another big graphic. Notice how temperatures, as we head through the night, Friday night into Saturday, temperatures are getting down into the lower 20s. Once we get temperatures really below 28, 27, we're talking about more of a dry, powdery snow. Not one that's super great for snowballs, but it's easier to shovel. And I think that's going to help limit the power outage risk. Now, winds will be an issue with this, regardless of if we see snow or not. We have an intensifying storm system off the coastline that's strengthening super quick. That's going to lead to gusty winds. So I do think we see winds gust upwards of 25, 35, maybe even up to 40 or 45 miles an hour at times. So that alone could cause some power outages. However, what will make this different than the early January storm is back then we were talking a heavy wet snow. I was reporting live in Prince Frederick. I know, trust me, shoveling my car out from 11 inches of snow was not fun because it was that heavy wet snow, and we had the winds with that too. So not only did you have heavy wet snow, you had it blowing around and you had issues, right? We're eliminating that heavy wet snow factor. We're not going to see winds that are as crazy as what we saw with that storm, but winds will still be elevated. So scattered outages, of course, are going to be something we're monitoring. You could have some slick spots on area roads tomorrow evening. However, I do think as we transition right into Saturday, early Saturday morning, I think you're going to be talking snow-covered roads. So if you're out driving early Saturday morning, even around sunrise on Saturday, you're probably looking at snow-covered roads. So keep that in mind. And those issues are likely going to stick around with us, especially for our southeastern communities throughout the day Saturday. While plows will be able to get out there, you're going to have blowing and drifting a little bit. And anything that's wet will freeze right on up. So that's going to be something we're really watching. Right now, winter storm watches are in effect to our south and to our east. They kind of skip over us here in southern Maryland. So Westmoreland County, Caroline County, Lancaster, Essex, Richmond counties down there on the northern neck. Winter storm watch is up for you. On over towards the lower eastern shore, it's a winter storm warning. So we first get the watches, then advisories and warnings come afterwards. The warning signifies we're talking at least 5 inches of snow for at least 50% of a county. When you get a winter weather advisory, that's saying between 2 to 5 inches. So the National Weather Service has yet to issue anything for our region. The winter storm watch, I think, didn't need to get issued. The watch, you typically will get a winter storm watch issued for areas that have a good chance, or at least a 50% chance of getting to that winter storm warning threshold. We're not really seeing that here in our region. Maybe you get to warning criteria over 5 inches in southern St. Mary's, but I don't think that's a widespread thing. So we'll likely see winter weather advisories get issued across our region tonight. That'll probably come at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And there is a chance that maybe St. Mary's County is under a winter storm warning, but keep in mind that it's really only going to be because you got that southern end of the county potentially really potentially getting in on some of the higher snowfall totals. So that's what that looks like. Let me get you on over to the model output. This, oh God, has this been difficult to work with? I got out of class today at 10:45, and I was just sitting in the library looking at my computer, my laptop screen, for like 30 minutes looking over data, and I'm like, how can I make a forecast? My forecast right now, right, is like 3 to 5 Pax River, 1 to 3 Andrews. I easily could go 5 to 8 inches in southern Calvert, southern St. Mary's County. I could also very easily go less than an inch in those spots too and justify it either way. So this is a low confidence forecast because so many options are still on the table. Looking at the overall atmospheric setup though, I tend to not believe we're going to see these high snowfall totals. I'm a little bit more reserved with my forecast than you might see other outlets publishing. And we'll get into more of the model talk here a little bit later when we get to the sciencey part of the forecast. But what I will say is that our American model has come around a little bit. If you've been following this chart I've been publishing over the last couple of days, you've noticed that GFS, the American model, only had an inch or so, and now it's come around to having 4.6 at Pax River, 2.6 at Andrews. European model has stayed pretty consistent, 6.3 at Pax River, 2.7 on over towards Andrews. The RGEM and the NAM have been a little bouncy, but generally now kind of falling between a 4 to 6 inch range. The National Weather Service numbers have come down as well. So many of these numbers here do fall nicely within my forecast. Our models, so the first four you see on each line there, are they're hugging the higher end of my totals. I'm not sure I believe that that's necessarily going to happen, but I do want to say that sure, that is possible. Is it possible we see 6, 7, 8 inches of snow? Totally. And I outlined that in my forecast for you on the website. That crashed, of course, again today, but I think it came back online a little bit quicker. But 6.3 inches, not totally out of the realm of possibility. It's very possible. I gave that about a 25% chance of happening. I think that we could see that. I just don't know how likely it is. And lastly, then we'll get to your questions. So if you have questions, maybe start thinking of them now, but put them in the chat, and I'll get to them as I see them. But your highest wind gusts are going to be up along the coastal areas up along the Atlantic. 45 to 55 mile an hour winds are possible out there. You could be talking about blizzard conditions, especially in parts of New Jersey, parts of southeastern Mass. I think that's where you're going to see those highest wind gusts. Locally, 35 to 45 mile an hour winds definitely possible at the peak of this storm as we head into Saturday. That could lead to scattered power outages as well. And the further west the storm were to come, we're then also not just shifting the highest snow totals further west, we're bringing the wind threat further west as well. So if you see more snow, that's coming at a price of seeing gustier winds, and then you could be talking about maybe an increased power outage risk than what would already be an elevated threat of that. So that's kind of what we're talking about. So I'm going to get you, I think, a nice place to put this right now. I'm going to leave you on this, the hyperlocal look. I'm going to come through the comments and see kind of what's going on. And then after that point, we'll look at some of the models ourselves. We'll get into some of the sciencey part of the forecast. Some of you I know like seeing that, so stick around for that if you would like to. And I will not answer the in my backyard questions for locations on this map. Not to sound harsh, but yeah, that's where we're at. So let me see. Let me come over here. Yeah, Leslie 2 to 4 inches, Susan said. Yep, I think that's right on. So like how Floridians tried blowing the hurricane away with hands. Can I get a group of boaters at it? Yeah, Amber, that's an idea. That's an idea. Yeah, Kim's comment about this will be more of a light and fluffy snow. So yeah, Carol wants to know if the electric will be fine. Chance of power outages are there. I don't think it'll be as bad as the early January storm for you. And I appreciate the kind comment, Beth. Thank you. Brad, so nothing for us, Brad. And I know you're here and so come on. I know you, I don't think you actually meant that. And yeah, Amber, the NAM, earlier the NAM had like 8 inches of snow in southern Maryland, and now for Pax River, what was it, down to 5? Joanne, Dover and Smyrna, you're likely going to be near 5, 6, 7 inches, I think. Sandy, chance of the storm coming further west. Let me bring that graphic back up. I have it hidden here somewhere. So coming further west, I give it a 25% chance. By no means is that a 0% chance. I think in 100 universes that happens 25% of the time. And do we live in a universe where that happens? I think the chance is there, yeah. See, planning on traveling to Wilmington Saturday morning from the Plata. Yeah, George, I wouldn't recommend that. I think you're going to be running into some travel issues, and you don't want to end up like those people at the early January storm that were like stranded on I-95 for 24 hours. I would, if anything, I would either go late tomorrow, well, tomorrow evening, or just wait till maybe like Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Karen wants to know about Long Island. I think up there you're probably talking like like a 6 to 10 inch event out there. Now the eastern end, like Montauk out there on the far reaches of Long Island, you could be talking more like an 8 to 14 inches, more like 8 to 14 inches. Let me bring back up the snow map for those asking what's gonna happen in my backyard. There we go. Wesley. Yeah, Melissa, unfortunately, I can't tell you if the possum will come back and steal your cat's food. Let's see, my son has a high school track meet Saturday in Virginia Beach. That's gonna be tricky because even down there, I think you're talking 2 to 5 inches. How much further west would it need to come? So to Susie, let me come over here. Oh, actually, we're already here. So you see that 5 to 10 inch range? So that, if I had to eyeball it, that's what, 75 miles to our west? So for that zone to come to us here in southern Maryland, we would need the storm to shift 75 miles to the west. To get it on a foot plus, you're probably going to need like 100 miles shift to the west. I have seen things like that happen before at the very last moment. Our modeling never caught on to it. Do I think it's likely with this storm? I don't think so, but again, this is such a low con, and I might. Sorry, I need to organize my thoughts. I know when I say this, I'm going to sound like a very stereotypical weatherman. Like, oh, there's a 25% chance just to cover my backside. But it's very possible that happens. I don't think that's likely to happen, but I don't think it's impossible to happen. Let's see. Yes, Blake, you saw the 10-day forecast earlier. Those 50s are going to be coming for mid to late next week ahead of a cold front. And that cold front will bring us back into a winter chill. So you're driving to New York City on Sunday. Kurt, you should be fine Sunday. You will find higher issues once you get up towards New York, though. New York points north and east of there, you're going to be looking at high snow total. So do be aware as you travel, let's say you're taking 95, I assume, if you're getting into Baltimore, right? So past Philly, you probably have some issues. Once you get into New York City proper, you'll probably have some issues lingering. It won't be snowing still up there, but some of those residual issues for you. So Beth, this is my second call. I have all intentions of making this a final call. However, if we see something crazy shift overnight, and we'll talk about that potential in a little bit when we get into that model talk, then I'll issue another forecast tomorrow morning. I think those of you that have followed along long enough, and Beth, I know you're one of them, know that I really only like issuing like a first call and a final call. I don't like doing a first, second, third call. I think that's inconsistent messaging, and it's hard for you all to remember what exactly it is I forecasted. So my intention is for this to stand as a final call forecast. With that said, it's very possible. I give it a 50-50 chance that maybe we need to update this in one way or another tomorrow. And if that update needs to be made, that would come before lunchtime tomorrow. I would issue that forecast probably between 8 and 12 tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll let you know. I like to put out those programming notes so you know when I'm issuing a snowfall forecast and when to expect it. If I need to do an update, you'll know that update's coming. But for now, this is the final call, but we'll see if that doesn't change. Yeah, Laura, forecast for Sunday is cold. And for those of you, let me come here. So these are your local snowfall totals. Do I think the weather will be too bad for someone to drive from PA to Southern Maryland Saturday into Sunday? You might have some issues, James. Once you get, it depends on where in Southern Maryland. If you're driving to like Dunkirk, you should be fine. There will be some slick spots the further south you head. So once you get south of Baltimore, and once you get south of Annapolis, you'll have some issues. I would think Sunday is probably a better day for travel, but you can probably get something done by Saturday afternoon. Yeah, Susie wants a 100-mile shift to the west. Volleyball tournament in New York Saturday at 2. Um, yeah, you should be fine to get there from the plate. Do be aware of some slick spots, though, that could be possible. Yeah, Wesley, that 100-mile shift to west, and we've seen it happen. We'll get into it more here in a second, but yeah, that would be a big change. Glenn, the Dunkirk total is 1-3. Timing in St. Mary's starting tomorrow afternoon. Winds with the storm, Tim wants to know. There you go. And then for those asking when the snow will start, let me just get you to tomorrow's forecast. I see a lot of those questions. You could have some flurries before lunchtime tomorrow. I think we could be talking more like scattered rain and snow showers, like 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. Maybe you get a little bit of accumulation. I don't think it'll be much though. I think the bulk of the snow really won't start till after 5 or 6 tomorrow. Awesome. So I've gotten to the bottom of the question. And Leslie wants to know what the blizzard conditions are. That would be sorry. Blizzard conditions are winds. I think it's actually just wind gusts of 35 miles an hour for 3 hours or more with quarter mile visibility as well. So let's get into I don't think we'll have school closings in St. Mary's County. I don't think schools will be impacted by this tomorrow. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's likely. So let me come on over here. I want to give you a look at some of our model data. So I want to actually come here. This map I like a little bit better. We'll take a look at the latest latest American model. This is, it's changed a little bit. We'll talk about it. So as we push through, this is tonight. And for those of you that don't know where Southern Maryland is on the map, because I know we have some transplants that are, moving in and out of the region all the time. There is Southern Maryland. So let's push this on forward. This is getting us on over to tomorrow morning. And you see we might have some snow showers breaking out. The reason that would happen is we have a piece of energy in what we call the northern stream, or the northern part of our jet stream, that'll be moving through the region, right? And that might try to set off some of those light snow showers across the region. Is it a lot? No. Now, the key part to that is if that piece of energy is able to work with our developing storm system and do what we call phase, or they're able to combine their energies and become into one storm, we would be talking about, that 100-mile shift to the west could 100% happen to be a much stronger storm that comes further west. As we push forward here, let me kind of zoom out. What you can see happening is our storm system is beginning to get its act together down here, and we also have high pressure to the north. That is going to help to drive in cold air into our region. Low pressure is going here off the coastline. And as those two, these coastal storm and the northern stream energy, try to interact at least a little bit, that will help to produce snow in this general region. However, that northern stream energy is going to die off pretty quick, and this coastal low will take over, where snow will become, all the precip now becomes very much more associated with our low pressure that's down here, and this is going to be the northern or northwestern side of the precip shield. The question is, how far west is that able to come, and that's very much reliant on that storm track. Now, I'm going to switch maps here. It's the same model, though. I want to zoom in here. Let's take you to the northeast. This really allows me to show you the differences with our modeling. So this is the latest run, right? So there's our coastal storm, and for those of you, again, Southern Maryland's right down here. You can see the snow starting initially, so Friday, right? Friday afternoon, Friday evening. There's our low pressure, really getting going, our coastal storm. And as it gets going, it's going to produce a lot, regardless if it's snow or not, a lot of precip right around it, right? And the parts of the East Coast that stick out in the ocean, like the Jersey coast, like parts of New England. Those are going to be the spots that are able to get in on some of those heavier precip rates. Now here is, and actually we'll do this. So low pressure with the latest model run sitting right here, and our extent of the snow gets kind of back here. So up along I-95. Let me show you the model run before this. So you can see that, and it might be easier if I can take this off. So this was the afternoon run. This is the latest run. And you can see a slight shift here to the north and west. So this morning, we were talking about low pressure down here, right? And the extent of the snow maybe got into like Prince Frederick and Mechanicsville. Evening run pushes things, and this is a very slight shift, right? So if we were to zoom in here in Southern Maryland, we're taking that edge of the snow here from right, like Huntingtown, Mechanicsville, now up to DC. So that's what, maybe a 30-mile shift west in the precip. And if we take this back even further, I mean, we can see kind of how this has trended, right? So this was last night, the 0Z. Look, where our low pressure is, where that snow is, and look what's happened all day. We've had several model runs since this. Look at how that trends further west. So that is important to see. This is trying to come closer to what our European model has shown. Let me bring it back here. Let me bring it to the Euro, and we'll just do east. And what you'll be able to see is it also gets our low pressure going. But it's further west. It's closer to the coast, where it's able to get some of those more moderate pockets of snow here into southern Maryland before really kicking out of here. If we take a look at our ensembles, right? So let's think back about this. We have the American model. That's like a parent, right? Think of that as a mom. Each of our parent models, so our American model that I just showed you, it has kids, right? It's those ensembles, it's the same model, but it's run 30 times, so 30 variations, which with each variation tweaked a little bit. So in one variation, high pressure is 2 millibars stronger, or, like those small things. Energy is 50 miles further south. So that's what that is. That's a great way to think about it. If we look at the American model ensemble, and all 30 of those variations, those are the kids, those are the different ensemble members. Let me just take it to total snow here. So, actually, I don't like the way that looks. I like using the 24-hour. It really helps us to zone in. So, these are what the ensemble members of the American model are showing. So again, each line represents one of those kids. Most, granted not all, so we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 30 that don't show anything, but most of our models do have snow here in southern Maryland. How many have over, let's say, 3 inches, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually we'll just say over 2 inches. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So half of our models have over 2 inches in southern Maryland, half of our ensemble members. And I'm seeing this probably, we have one that gets us over over 6 inches for our region. So keep that in mind. If we take a look at the European ensemble, 24-hour snow, this model has 50 variations. All of the ensembles, all of the kids here have snow. Some of these get pretty crazy though, and I can zoom in and show you. Some of these strands you see like a 23-inch, 25, 28. So I mean, there are some solutions in here that do get crazy. That's not the forecast, but that shows you. I mean, look at the wide variety here. So out of the 50, how many have, let's say over double-digit snow? Let's go with that. We have 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we have 12 out of 50 that have, some impressive snow totals over, over double digit. There's only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I only have 11 ensemble members here that have almost nothing. So that's just a brief overview, kind of what we're looking at. There's a lot of different potentials here. If we take a look at the North American model, we'll look at the low resolution first. This model here gets snow into our region. You see those scattered snow showers, but it becomes more widespread as the coastal storm down here really gets its act together. And it's as it moves northward, you see how the snow shield here goes from like across the DC area to really then transitioning just southeast to DC as the low pressure system gets going. And it really kind of focuses some of those more moderate snow south of St. Mary's County. So if I had to kind of pinpoint it, the area I think has the highest chance to see 5, maybe 6 inches of snow is this area right down here locally. And for our northern neck viewers, let me zoom out just to show you too. It's really like right in here locally. This is the potential for where you could see 6. I think the highest you're going to find, all right, so this is kind of zone 1, right? So this is where you could maybe see up to 6. I wouldn't bank on it, but you could. If you're looking for like up to 5, kind of like there, I think, and these are really going to get skinny up here. Actually, I'd probably take it more like this. I think this is where up to 4 generally. You can kind of see what we're doing here. I think this is kind of like your up to 3. So you're going to see the most snow, no matter how much it is, south of Lexington Park. And I think, let's say you're watching from Brandywine or Dunkirk or Lothian, right up here near Clinton, getting on over towards Upper Marlboro, and you're not going to see as much, regardless of how this storm tracks. It's possible that not seeing as much is as little as like 1/10 of an inch of snow. It's also possible that it's more than that. Let me come over here. Let me show you I want to show you the GFS run from earlier. This came out while I was getting my forecast done. And let me show you this. I mean, this kind of shows you maybe how we don't see as much snow, right? You see snow, but very quickly. It moves out very quickly. We see very little coastal snow from it. And what that does for our region is this. Right? Like, so this is why that shift from the American model. So, and I'll show you the snow map from the latest run of the American. I mean, it barely gets 2 inches here to St. Mary's County. I mean, it gives much of the area 1 to 2, but it's very, I mean, I could justify a forecast for this, whereas the latest run of the American model, look how that shifts it further west. So that's some good news for local snow lovers, where locally then, it more than doubles the total. You got 4.6 here at Pax River, 2.6 at Pure Andrews, like a 3.8 at Annapolis. You got like 5.3 Cambridge, Easton, 8.69 inches on over towards Ocean City. So this shows you where the heaviest snows will fall. The latest European model, let me bring you on over here. Here's what it does with snow totals. Again, this isn't my forecast. These are just some of the tools in our forecaster's toolbox. You see, you got your highest. Oh, you cannot see purple on purple like that, or pink on pink like that. You got like your foot plus potential, and you can barely see that. It's like kind of off the screen. On over towards Ocean City. The European model, it's come down a little bit. If I were to show you, what are we looking at? 12Z here. You can see that 6Z. Yeah. 0Z. So it's staying somewhat stable, but you see the afternoon run, it had 6.3 here in Pax River, and then it jumps down to 4.5. So, and this actually just finished coming in. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't like the upper level pattern we have with this storm. There's no real blocking, and what that blocking would do, and what blocking would be, it's a little the blocking just slows down the storm track. Storms then move much slower. They kind of linger across our region, and they would be allowed to do something that looks like this, where they do like a loop-de-loop, right? Because they're moving so slow, everything's kind of stopped from moving. This would be the pattern that we saw like with our 2010 blizzard, 2016, 2003, 96. I don't see that happening here. I think it is much more likely that this kind of slides out to sea like this, because nothing's going to stop it from doing so. Calvin wants to know my confidence on the sites. Low medium. Like if we were to 0 is no confidence, 5 is super high confidence, maybe like a 2 to a 3. I'd say yeah, 2 I think is pretty representative of where I stand with this. It's very possible we shift all of these totals to the west or all of them to the east. Now, this is a change from my first call forecast where I shifted things a little further east, and I changed that dark blue from 3 to 5 to 2 to 5, so just a minor change there. But so yeah, that is kind of what we're looking at. So busy. So our evening model runs, and I don't have class tomorrow, thankfully, so I'm able to stay up and really kind of like get a good handle. Granted, I do need to get sleep because I'm sure I'll be up most of Friday night to Saturday watching this. But where was I going? Oh, so I do intend on this being a final call. We'll see though. I really am not relying on our just pure modeling. I would assume what you will see is some of the TV guys maybe increasing their snow totals a little bit, just based on the fact that the GFS moved westward, right? So I wouldn't surprise me to see, some of the TV weather forecasters say new snow map at 11, and they're talking about totals going up, and that's because they're 100% relying on the model data. And I got home from class, and I don't mean to I ramble out on these, I know, but I got home from class, right, and I was watching some of the DC news. Just I like to see kind of where they're at, to see what questions are people going to ask me from what they're reporting. And the forecast I was watching, and this has happened every week this month, where we'll mention another storm chance in 10 days, it's more than aggravating, because this happens all the time, and then people get their expectations up, because I know when I just hear, oh, storm chance, I'm thinking, no, it's a blizzard. That's enough for me though. So what counties in the northern neck of Virginia? You can see the northern neck here. I think you're gonna find your highest totals, and I don't know the northern neck counties super well at the top of my head, so I need to bring up I know Westmoreland County and King George. I believe that's Northumberland down there. You got Lancaster, Essex County as well down there, I think. So it's really kind of like south of Montrose, kind of south of there, through the northern neck, we're gonna find those highest totals. Yeah, Brenda, there's always another storm, and yeah, maybe we're talking another storm the following weekend. We haven't even gotten to this weekend. We're talking about yet another storm chance the following weekend. Yeah, I mean, sure, that storm chance is there, but yeah. and Brenda, that's not me rolling my eyes at you. It's aggravating that we've done the same song and dance every week this month. If you've been paying attention, right? Since the January storm, we have done this literally every week, where we will mention a storm chance in 10 days, and it gets hyped up to no end. It'll be 20 inches plus. And every single time it doesn't happen, and it comes snow you all know where I stand though. Let me not talk about it, because I get too amped up. So Brenda, order one during the week. If it's going to snow, I want it to be enough to close school. These little 1 to 3 inch events I'm not a fan of, especially up here in Pennsylvania, right? So I'm sure we'll probably get some chance here before winter ends. It'll come on a Tuesday. That won't be enough to close the university and I have to drive in it. Now, with that said, I don't think this is our last snow chance for the year. I don't think it's our last snow chance at all. I think we probably have a couple more threads somewhere down there. So yeah, Wesley. And yeah, and then people get let down. People get excited. Oh, storm chance. And we had a good snow at the beginning of the month, but we haven't had a true blizzard. And 2016 was kind of. I wasn't too impressed with the 2016 blizzard. I the last big blizzard. When I think of big blizzards, I'm thinking that year we got 3 of them. I'm thinking 2010. It's been a hot minute since we've gotten a real good snowstorm. So, people, when you've gone that long without a snowstorm and you mention snowstorm, I don't consider something a snowstorm unless it's dropping more than 6 inches, right? So like 2 to 5, yeah, it's a snow event. Yeah, but yeah. Best snow is coming February, beginning of March. Yeah, our real snow season is from about Martin Luther King Jr. Day through about St. Patrick's Day, and really kind of like centered right around President's Day is the peak of that. So if you think of like hurricane season, like I think Martin Luther King Jr. Day begins our like upward tick. It peaks up here at like President's Day, and it comes down as we head into March. But we've seen some pretty big March snows the last couple of years, so. Um, Yeah, Julie, I do think Piney Point will see some this time. You'll probably see more snow than anyone else in the region. I think the only spot that might see more than you is Point Lookout. And watch what I say about a blizzard. I mean, that I would come back down to Southern Maryland for that. And I was debating if I was going to come down this weekend for this event. And at one point, I was really considering it, but the drive down to Southern Maryland from where I'm at near Harrisburg in Pennsylvania, it's a good 3-hour drive, and not only is it just a long drive, it's a lot. Like when I came down for the Monday storm, or I keep saying Monday storm like it was last week, the storm at the beginning of the month. That was like a last minute decision. So, and that's the first time I've actually ever done that. Since I moved up here to Pennsylvania, so I'll come down for a good. If we can get like 8 to 12 inches in Southern Maryland with any upcoming storm threats, I will 100% come down and make the trip for it. 2 to 5 inches though, and yeah, this one has the potential to drop more, but I'm kind of, I'm not sure I buy that. So we're gonna wrap this up. I've yet to eat dinner, so my stomach just made a sound. So stick around. I'll have coverage the rest of this evening and then all day tomorrow. If we need to update this forecast, that update will come before lunchtime tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And if you want the full written forecast for this, head over to jbweather.net. I think we're working better now with that. The website server should be good to handle you. So yeah, stick around. Have a nice and safe one. Of course, keep it tuned here to JB Weather, and I'll continue to keep you updated. But in the meantime, stay safe and stay warm. I know it's going to be chilly tonight, and be prepared for some snow as we head into tomorrow.
Check the forecast anytime online at jbweather.net.